Hi, I'm Tyson with Adventure Rig, and currently we're inside of our rig. So Callie and I are on a little ski trip to California this winter. We've been in here for a couple weeks, and one thing that we found while we're on these trips is it can be tough trying to keep our boots dry. So if you are skiing multiple days back to back, or maybe you're even just skiing on the weekend, having wet boots obviously sucks, but it seems like no matter what, if we wear our boots for a day, if there's some snow that gets in them, or if our feet are sweating, the liners get wet. Luckily, DryGuy has us covered. If you go to adventurerig.com, you can find our other review of the Force Dry DX, which is not quite as portable as the Travel Dry DX. So this is what we take on the road. The other system that we have is great, works awesome. It's just not quite as handy as these guys. So the first thing, you may notice that there are a lot of cords here. That was something that when we pulled it out of the package, we thought, really? There's a lot of cord here. They do actually wind around the dryer pretty easily to keep them nice and tucked away and not tangled up with each other. But something that we found is this actually works really well for us because we have some outlets that are actually underneath cabinets. So they're at about this height, and we can get these all the way down to the ground on our boots, and the boots don't have to be directly underneath the cabinet. We can actually move them away and out of the way, which is great when you're living in small spaces. What's also really nice about these is that if you're just in a car, you can actually still take these along, and it has a 12-volt cigarette lighter already attached to it. So if you want to use it with the wall, it does come with this, and it just plugs in. Now you can use 120 volt AC power or a cigarette lighter in your car. I think that's really awesome, endless options. You should be able to use these no matter where you are. Now these do work really well. First of all, they're quiet. So it's great when you're sleeping in the same quarters as where your boots are drying, because you really can't hear these. And that's something that they do put in the instructions, that make sure this fan's turning. It's pretty easy to see when it's off and when it's on, but since you really can't hear them, you plug them in and it seems like maybe they're not working. However, they are working. They don't push a ton of air. You can feel a little bit of air coming out of them, but it's not like a blow dry or anything like that. The fan on these is pretty small, so it does provide a little bit of air as well as some heating elements that help to heat the air to really get your boots warm and dry. Now, obviously with the size of these, they don't dry as quickly as the Force Dry. But if we leave these on for 4 or 5 hours, it seems to do a great job of drying the boots. If we leave them overnight, there's absolutely no question, no matter how wet our boots were, these are definitely going to dry them in 8 or 9 hours. One thing Callie and I have to pay attention to is how much energy we're using, because we're just operating off of battery power. So we do have a trimetric up here that actually tells us how many amps we're using. And when I plug these in, we are using about 1.1 extra amps per set of these. 1 to 1.1 seems to be where it wants to settle out. So it's not a lot of amperage if you are running on low battery or small batteries in your rig. Something I did find out once I pulled these out of the package is that you can't dry gloves with them. That's one thing with the Force Dry, you can put a lot of stuff on there, but these specifically say when you pull them out of the package, there's a sticker on them that says don't dry gloves. I did try to dry gloves with them, and I wouldn't recommend it. It's probably a fire hazard is my guess, but there's not enough air moving around the dryers. So I think what happens is they overheat, because when I picked them up, they were a lot warmer to the touch than say when I have them stuffed in my boots. So definitely keep that in mind, really for shoes and boots, not for gloves. I would not recommend that you put them in your gloves and use them. And it specifically says not to do that. I don't think they're gonna be covered under any kind of warranty if you burn them up. Another nice thing is the overall shape. The shape allows the dryer to just slip into your boot and easily get all the way into the toe box. Again, these are great if you guys are on the move, if you're traveling a bunch, if you're living in your car, van, camper, these will dry your boots every night, so you're a happy skier the next day, or snowboarder. Again, these are made by DryGuy. They are the Travel Dry DX. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, leave them below and we'll get back to you. And if you would like to know where we are or what we're up to, check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Adventure Rig. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tyson with Adventure Rig.